What's up guys, DukeSloth here, and today we are simultaneously looking at the best and the worst patch that we've had in a long time. How? Some things about this patch, especially regarding Ranked, are super cool, super interesting, and I'm actually really excited for that, to the point that I want to play Ranked. And if you know how long that hasn't been the case, basically since like Season 2, you know it means a lot. On the other hand, we have some very questionable changes to Conquest and to certain items. So let's jump into that. This will take a while, this is a long one. We'll go through all of it. Let's begin with the skins. We have a new Cabrakan skin, the Crusher it's called apparently here. It is the Mixer skin now. It was originally a Face Crusher Cabrakan. You've already seen it in my past video. I was able to show like the card real quick. And now it's finally here. And it's cool, and I always wanted it, but I did like the Face Crusher variation a little bit better. Then we have Thanatos Valkyrie's Rage, the first gender bent skin, and I think it looks really cool. I'm very excited for this one. I actually didn't catch how you can get it, unfortunately, but I guess somebody in the comments can say that, and maybe for some of the other skins as well, because I didn't catch all of that, because due to the time zone changes, I was late for the patch notes. But either way, this skin looks absolutely fantastic, and I really want to play Thanatos now, even though I don't like Thanatos most of the time. Hey! Next one, Kukulin, Beast Within. Also a very cool theme in my opinion, just switching over to this werewolf-style character. And he's in a bundle with a few other skins, I will mention the ones. And I think that bundle, or the battle pass rather, is actually really cool in terms of the rewards. The next one here is Scylla, Terror of the Depth. She can actually ride one of her angler fishes as a special emote as well. Equally cool, very cool design, also in the Battle Pass. And then we have Cornunos, the Heretic skin, also in the Battle Pass. I think this one's like, you know, alright, I guess, cool, but not quite my style. And then there is going to be a fourth one, which we're going to switch over to here, and that is Pele, the Spectral Blade skin, and that's also in the Battle Pass. And I think overall, with 3 out of 4 skins being really cool, that makes the Battle Pass very worth it for me personally. There's a character here in the background, by the way. I'm not quite sure if this is a Merlin skin maybe or something. I can't really tell. I don't think it's an Arthur skin, so we'll see if that's a teaser for a future skin. But this one I really like as well. Though I would like some more traditional skins for Pele too. Then we have Neath Desert Dragon, and I actually forgot how you unlock that. I think it was a free unlock. It was not through Mixer. Oh, it was through Twitch, right? It's the next unlock through Twitch. So yeah, if you have Twitch Prime, you get that for free. And then we have a new Artemis skin, Snuggly Artemis. Yep, I guess some of you will really like that. And then we also have Nox of the Depth of Atlantis. This is one of those skins that comes out in a later chest, I think, together with the Artemis skin, maybe. Water-themed, much like the Scylla skin. It looks really cool, especially the silence look very cool. This is like water bubble that pops up. I'm not sure if I mentioned the Cabrakan skin. You have to watch Mixer, you have to link your Smite and Mixer, and then you have to watch it until you have 600 points. But you don't spend these points, you unlock Cabrakan automatically. You can spend those points for other skins throughout the season that will like regularly change the skins that are available through the Mixer points. And if you spend them for other skins, then you lose the points actually, but you don't lose the progression towards the Crusher Cabrakan, so you will still get that once you've accumulated 600 points in total, no matter how many you spent. And with that, we have the update release schedule here. First week of April, Darkness Falls Battle Pass. Those are the 4 skins. The From the Depth chest, that is the Nox. The Mixer store with the Cabrakan skin and esports content. And then the second week of April is Council of the Gods. Or maybe that's where the Thanatos skin is then. From the Depth must be the first week here. So that must be the Nox one. Subject to change, but yeah, you can figure it out. And then we also have miscellaneous new things here. New cosmetic item, Gothic Loading Frame, Jormungandr Announcer Pack. Even more of those, I guess. Blood Moon Global Emote, The Depth Jump Stamp, Gothic Pedestal, Darkness Falls Loading Screen, Ring of Wraith Recall Skin, Terror of the Depth Avatar, Spooky Title, Squiddy's Avatar, Under the Sea level up skin, new esports cosmetic items and jump stems for each team, and award skins for Pittsburgh Knights, Renegades, and Dignitas, Snuggle Party Pedestal, Valkyrie's Rage loading frame, and new items in the Mixer store being the Crusher Kraken, obviously, Pool Party Jing Wei for free if you watch Mixer, that's pretty cool actually, Foxy Lady Daji, also a pretty cool skin, and Cosmic Soul. Wow, okay, those are some pretty nice skins. By the way, I have some important news at the end of this video. I just remembered that in all my excitement, so feel free to skip over to that if you want to hear it, or tune in at the end for that, because I won't be making videos for a while. You'll see. Bug fixes. We won't go through all of this because a lot of them are not that important. Some stuff about the pick order and draft picks and things not really working. What's maybe a little bit more important for many players is Merlin auto skill turning off when using the ultimate. It doesn't happen anymore, so of course a lot of us always use auto skill, so that's very important. No, the next ones. Jormungandr, fixed Jormungandr sometimes being unable to refire submerge, so his 3 should work properly now, not popping up and it's not actually happening. Fix an issue where Jormungandr's 3 would refire. Refire would sometimes be blocked by the pulse he sends out while stealth. Okay, I'm not quite sure. Well, whatever. They belong together somehow. Fix an issue where Nox could exit early while Jormungandr was in the ultimate. I actually didn't realize that she has to stay through all bounces, but hey, some time chilling. Fix an issue where King Arthur could still move while rooted when using basic attack, so no more basic attacking out of a Nox silence root combo, for example. And fix an issue where Rajkoska could use meditation beats during the start of the ultimate. Now, I don't know what this broken item is that is meditation beats. Maybe it's meditation or beats, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's beats. Can't tell. It's not. I guess it's meditation cloaked more likely, but who knows? Maybe you could use both and it shouldn't be able. I don't know. And yeah, then there's some mana cost stuff, some other damage that should be dealt. It teleports out of sight of the Joust map with Janus, and King Arthur not being able to stack towards his ultimate. And then we have some console fixes, parental controls, and stuff like that, and leaderboard stuff. Yeah, this is most like UI fixes and similar. And again, they have the Trello board now, which you can check out for all the current issues that are known and what's being updated and so on. Project Olympus, new player experience. They enhance that even further now. Players will now receive rewards for completing co-op matches, although at a reduced rate from normal matches. XP 100%, favor 30%, battle pass points 10%, and worshippers 100% up to rank 4, then 0%. The up to rank 4 is a bit strange to me for the worshippers. I'm not quite sure why they go that high there. Would be a super easy way to grind worshippers. I think, yeah, that's not necessary. But the rest is definitely nice. Because Smurfs can grind up quicker that way through XP, what primarily matters to them, and are not necessarily new players' games. And B, because new players can learn at their own pace and still progress in the leveling. Console experience, new VGS for console with different buttons, you can see here. UI updates. This is important if you want free stuff. Daily rewards no longer reset when the player misses a day. Very nice. Daily rewards must now be claimed by the player in the store under the featured page instead of auto-claiming. Not so nice. So you have to make the effort to look for that every single day that you want the reward. The client-side store has been updated to the new art style. This refers to where you buy skins and guards, not the in-game item shop where you buy boots and stuff like that. PC players can now call roles through the UI in other game modes besides Conquest. Your Hi-Res support ID is displayed in your profile now. This is a unique number to your Hi-Res account that should be used when filing support tickets or reporting bugs. It helps us find your account easier in a cross-play world. Other players cannot see your ID, so very important in certain contexts. Mixer store. A tab has been added for the store, that's for the Mixer store, and that's where you get the Bracken stuff and you get the points for watching official Hi-Res streams on Mixer. And yeah, you have this rotation of skins going on that you can get, like I said. I think this is just, it says official Hi-Res streams, is a bit vague. I guess the streamer streaming for them does not count towards that, but rather when there's actually SPL going on or similar, or patch notes. Ranked. This one's big and this one's cool. Matchmaking, rating, MMR/ELO returns. It was always there, it was just hidden. Players will now be able to see their ranked MMR when viewing their ranked stat page. I really hope this comes in casuals eventually as well. I really want to see MMR. I just want to know. I hope. Hi-Res. My appeal here. I love just knowing the stat, okay? You don't have to show it to anyone else. I just want to know where my performance is in terms of MMR in different modes. Anyways, matchmaking rating will not be visible to others in the client unless they are Masters or Grandmasters players. So at the top, it'll show. However, MMR will now be visible through the API, allowing external sites to obtain players' MMR. Players can set their profile to hidden to prevent this. So, SMITE Guru will pick up your MMR and it will show your MMR to other players. And people will use that to BM other players. And if you don't want that, then you can hide yours. And if you're one of the people that hide their MMR and then BM other players for their MMR, you're the absolute worst scum of them all. But yeah, be smart about this. I think most of you are, but be smart about this. Don't BM players for your MMR, for their MMR, so that we can keep this feature, because most people just want to know their MMR. Thank you in advance. DuoQueue for Ranked Conquest returns. Just in time for me, or absolutely not, unfortunately. So this is funny because I always wanted to DuoQueue ranked with Teats, just for the fun of it, really. And we couldn't do it from the start of her moving here, basically. And now we're not going to be in Germany, and now it comes back. And, well, I guess we'll do like OCE DuoQueue if anyone plays ranked there. Players will now be able to party with a friend and queue up in Ranked Conquest. We have adjusted the rules from the last time this was possible to ensure the matchmaker can make quality matches. And this is very, very important and very good in my opinion. So players in Platinum 1 and below, players can queue with anyone within 200 MMR of their current MMR. That means you cannot queue with everyone. A new player will have 1500 MMR, and you may be able to queue with them if you've played for a while, if your MMR is around 1650 still, or around 1350. But you can't just queue with everyone. This is specifically important for people not to get carried to higher divisions. That means some people will intentionally drop games to carry their friends on a Smurf, which is very unfortunate, but overall this should be a very good change. Players in Diamond and above, players can queue with anyone within 50 MMR of their current MMR. So it's a lot stricter here to keep the matchmaking consistent, and I think that's a very good approach. That means if you really want to play with a friend a lot, the best call is to start playing together from the start, unless you already have different placements then. But we'll have a reset, so it should be possible. We'll see how the MMR exactly gets reset. Updated ranked progression. Qualification games removed. Players will no longer need to play 10 qualifying games when first starting out at the start of each split. Players without a previous split ranking will begin in Bronze 3, climbing up the ladder by playing and winning games. During soft resets, players will be reset between Bronze 3 and Gold 1, depending on their MMR at the end of each split. So it's kind of like what already happened. Like at the moment, I think, or in some seasons, not at the moment, the highest qualifying that you could get into was Gold 1 anyways. So now it doesn't depend on your 10 qualifying games anymore. Now it depends on your games in the previous season. So a Masters player ends up in Gold 1 right away, and a Bronze 5 player ends up in Gold 3. And everyone in between ends up somewhere in between. I'm assuming a little bit lower and has to grind up a little bit. In the new system, rank will be a better measurement of progression than skill. Very important. Rank, in my opinion, was already very vague. Like there was too much reward for just grinding up, and I said this before, and there's good evidence that this is the case, and I know a lot of other rank players that I talked to are confirming this experience. Like a Masters player isn't necessarily a good player at the moment because it's too much about playing a lot and not enough about playing well. In the new system, they acknowledge that, they accept that. Masters players are now players that I guess play decently and play a lot, because the ranked system itself is a progression. But if you want to see skill, then players should look at MMR differences between players as a way of judging their match quality. So you can have someone with very low rank but high MMR for whatever reason that will like grind up very quickly and skip ranks, but they're not there yet. And they are a very good player, and they can get matched with someone in a higher rank, maybe that just carried over from past seasons more, that is not actually that good, or just like played a lot, but has lower elo or a similar elo than this other player, and they would still fit together. So a silver player and a platinum, diamond, whatever player could still fit together here in a match, because we now have the MMR to know if it's good or not. It is possible that many people in different ranks could be paired together as an intended part of the system. So be aware, ranks doesn't mean anything anymore. Everything is about MMR now when it comes to skill, not how much you played. And I love that they show us MMR because it's been going in this direction anyways, and now we have this available along with DuoQ. So good on you, Hyris. Very good choice. A little too late for me, unfortunately, but hey. Updated TP gains and tier skipping. Increase the bonus for being a tier division that is far away from your matchmaking rating, so you skip quicker. Adjusted the rules for tier skipping on promotion to be less aggressive. I'm not sure how this goes together, really, because I guess... Oh, the rules are less aggressive. Okay, no, it goes together. Makes sense. Updated rewards lowered the amount of wins needed to get the 50 gem reward for each split from 75 to 50. So you also don't have to play as much with these short splits. So many good changes. Fantastic. Great job. I'm really happy about this. And moving on, the next change is also very, very good. Role queue. Players now provide a primary and secondary role choice instead of two equally weighed ones that are just after each other. Primary role will indicate the role you most want to play. The system will prioritize getting as many players as possible their primary role. Priority points only reset upon getting your primary role, not your secondary role. We're getting to those points. Visualize priority. Players will be able to see how many priority points they have on the queue screen. Players with the most priority points have the highest chance to receive their primary role. So if you haven't gotten your role for a while, then with more priority points, you're more likely to get it, and then your points reset, and you're less likely to get it. Ranked role queue. First pick will always receive their primary role. Second pick will always receive their primary role unless first pick had the same role selected. In this case, they will get their secondary role. It's no problem for me, no one will want to play jungle in a few weeks, you'll see why. Custom games. New pause option has been added. Free pause. Players cannot pause the game at any time, even during combat. The reasoning is basically so they're more like scrims and people agree on this stuff and that anyways, yeah, should be obvious. Yep, that brings us to the assault map. I kind of realized that I skipped over the voice lines for the gods, but we'll take that. Ragnarök has come and transformed Asgard in the process. The assault map has entirely new art set and some mechanical changes as well. The main goal for the assault gameplay changes is to encourage more fighting. Some new areas and objectives has been added to the map to prevent stalemates and ensure the battle keeps raging. Match lobby. Decreased cost to reroll your guard from 50 gems to 25 gems. That's nice. Decreased cost to roll your guard from 250 favor to 125 favor. Titans, updated to the Season 5 Conquest models. Phoenixes, updated to the Season 5 Conquest models. Towers, updated Sword Towers with new artwork. Decreased physical power by 15. So a little bit more rewarding to dive here. Minions, updated Order Minions to Season 5 Conquest models. Updated Chaos Minions for Season 5 Conquest models. Increased health and protections to match Conquest Minion status. And I think they said on the patch notes decreased damage as well. So it takes a little longer to clear them, but you can play more aggressive because they're less of a threat. Yes, likewise, the towers are less of a threat as well. Vital Orbs. Added a new type of objective around the assault map called Vital Orbs. The map will start with 2 of these that spawn in the center of the map, and a new one will spawn in the corner of the map after each tower is destroyed. Players only need to walk into these to collect them. Orb spawns after 60 seconds, and Vital Orb provides 15% increased movement speed for the player who picked up the orb for 10 seconds, 15% instant health and mana heal for the player and allies within 60 units, so you want to run that together, and a 1% health and mana regeneration per second aura for 10 seconds around the player. This affects all allies in 60 units. So kind of similar to the LoL healing points that existed for a long time. I think it's good. It's gonna, especially with the new path that have been added, it's going to lead to a lot more contention, a lot more fighting, less tower hugging and sitting around. Because if you do that, then you will just not get these orbs. It would probably, like, it could probably lead to like an early game god meta, but then again, you can't choose your god, so whatever. Overall, interesting changes here that I think will refresh Assault a little bit after a long time of being kind of unchanged. Conquest, the new Fury rotation adds more decision making to Conquest objectives and requires players to push their advantages in different ways. This concept has added an interesting twist to the new season. But one of the Furies felt lackluster and held the design back. Primal Fury's reward has been increased, blah, 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 and make it more applicable, especially for the more difficult Season 6 Fire Giant. Increase the damage dealt to jungle camps from 5% to 7% on the buff gained from killing the Primal Furies. Very convenient, I would say. We'll see how much impact it has. The unfortunate thing is that usually you just don't get enough of them to really make much of an impact throughout the game. But we'll see. Spirit Minions. I'm going to read this one because it annoys me. Or it doesn't actually annoy me, but you'll see why. Conquest has seen major updates to many roles since the rework launch at the beginning of Season 5. Junglers were put back in control of their jungles, mid laners have more freedom to roam and fight, and solo laners have a new objective. As those other improvements have taken hold, it has become increasingly clear that duo lane feels slightly behind the other roles and could use some adjustments. I agree. In this update, a new minion will be added to the first wave in the duo lane only. It is designed to impact the fighting as little as possible, but to provide just enough XP to allow 2 players to hit level 2 after the second wave, instead of remaining at level 1.9999 as they did before. This should give duo lane a jump start, allowing them to fight back against junglers or make more meaningful plays in the early game, which sets the stage for their mid to late game. Added a new minion to the duo lane, one spirit minion will spawn as a part of the first wave only in the duo lane on each side of the map. Spirit minion stats: 34 kill XP, 50 HP, and 5 physical power. Cool. Cool feature. So now duo lane has a way to avoid jungle ganks where the jungler is level 2 and they are not. Great. That was what duo lane needed to not get pressured out in early. So now, logically, we can of course revert all the jungle nerfs that have been made in the meantime, meaning Assassin's Blessing, meaning speed buff, meaning everything that basically curbed the jungler's performance, which wasn't overwhelming in any other regard but towards how they did in duo lane. Junglers early don't destroy solo laners. Junglers early only destroy mid laners if they're not careful, and that's how they're intended to work. So now everything's fine, right? Only that it's not. New jungle rules. While duo lane was being discussed, the topic of invades came up frequently. One of the primary reasons a duo lane will fall excessively behind is when the red or purple camp is taken by the enemy team. We want invades to still be meaningful. They are risky and require skill to pull off, but the amount of advantage being gained from them was overwhelming. Invading players will now gain slightly smaller rewards when stealing camps from enemy territory. This should reduce the amount of snowball in all lanes. Killing jungle camps on the opposite side of the map will now provide less XP and gold. The amount is decreased by 33% at 0 minutes match time. Decreases linearly over time, becomes 0% decrease at 15 minutes. So over the course of the game, you get more and more XP for invading, and it gets more and more rewarding, basically. That curbs early game junglers that benefit from invading a lot, but they will still benefit. It's still, you're still getting most of the XP, you're still roughly getting 70% most of the time or more, and you're still taking the XP away from the enemy. And it's not only affecting jungle, right? There are other lanes where invades can happen and where they can, solo lane, they can lead to snowball, and in dual lane, they can lead to snowball. So technically it's fine. But at the same time, we have tankier jungle camps, some of them giving less XP, we have a worse speed buff, and we have a worse Assassin's Blessing. Like, jungle has been constantly punched into the ground from the start of the season. When it was not super OP, like I said, it was the level 2 ganks on duo that were the issue. And I don't understand it. Like, all the other changes are so reasonable and are so good, but this is it's just too much. It's just too much in one direction. Like, come on. Why kill off a role so much that I don't want to play my main role anymore? It's just... I understand that Duo had a rough time for a long time last season, but the point should not be for Duo to get revenge, but to do exactly what happened, to buff Duo and not nerf everyone else first and then buff Duo. So yeah, now it's gonna be solo Duo meta, I guess. Cool. Anyways, that's the bad part of this patch. And then we have visual feedback on objectives, where you can now see when the enemy team has killed a specific Fury and also Pyromancer Fire Giant. So both teams get an icon. They get different icons, so you know when something's been killed. It's not just all audio play. I guess it's kind of actually fair for blind players. Playing Smite blind, that's the next level. But for deaf players, because they could previously not hear the audio cue where everyone else could when something's slain. So yeah, I think it's fine. And now, you just heard that Hunter's got a bit of a buff, right, in dual lane. We're not done. We're not done. This item is insane. Asi, in this patch, we take a look at Hunter Bridge items. We knew this before I told you this is going to happen. These items existed to provide a trade-off between boosting early game power at the cost of a late game efficiency. In most cases, however, these items were either dominant due to the early advantage or unused. Asi and Ichaival have been reworked to full tier 3 items, giving them, the players, hunters most of all, access to fully fledged items. Asi now builds from the balanced blade tree. So Asi as a tier 2 doesn't really exist anymore. It's just, you know, you can choose to build Asi at some point. Fine, okay. I thought it was gonna stay its own like upgraded variation. I like that I just said fine, okay there. But it is now 2,550 gold. Bit more towards the expensive side, but not super expensive. Right? There are more expensive damaging items, but this is more a late game item. But then again, it's also not super expensive compared to Devils, so you can just middle of the pack build. 20 physical power. Okay. 20% base lifesteal. That's how much many other lifesteal items have basically maxed. Devil starts with 10%, Bloodforge has 15% maximum for 2,800 gold, and Soul Eater starts with 10%, and then gets the ability stuff on top. And Asi keeps it passive. That's getting buffed. So far so good, right? So a high lifesteal, bit of power item though. 25% attack speed, very high value still. You know, Asi didn't have power before, and 15 penetration. And 15 flat penetration is still very, very good. DPS-wise, efficiency-wise, this item should be incredibly strong now. Like, maybe still not the best DPS item in all circumstances, but 20% lifesteal, and if you drop below 35% health, you get an additional 30% lifesteal for 5 seconds. Can only occur once every 15 seconds. That means that I'm very, very certain Devils is going to be pushed out by a combination of Transcendence and Asi, because you get the attack speed from this item and you get all the lifesteal that you need, and you get the pen, and the only thing that you don't get that much of is physical power. So you slap a Transcendence on top of that and you have an insane DPS efficiency. Yes, it's more expensive. It's something that you consider at later stages of the game, of course, but at the same time it's so good you can almost rush it. Like, it doesn't even matter. You're gonna heal so much. You're gonna have so much pen. It's super good. And I'm not sure. Like, I think this needs nerfs. I don't know how this is gonna, like, any hunter build that has any lifesteal is gonna work without this at all. This is also probably gonna like push out the silver branch meta for the most part, just because this can work as a lifesteal item, and then you don't need Bloodforge and you all are Devils and you just go into trance. Wild stuff. Ichaival, also interesting. Now built from Hunter's Bow, so also no longer its own tier 2 basically. 2,450 gold, so we see like 100 gold difference here. 30 physical power, 30% attack speed. That's still nice DPS efficiency. I'm pretty sure with the 15 penetration here, RC should end up being a little bit better. It's a little bit more damage overall. But every successful basic attack increases your physical power by 15% and reduces the enemy attack speed by 10%. 30% attack speed reduction. Alpha Jackal already said, like, Chak can basically remove the enemy's attack speed between his own abilities and whatever, Frostbound, Ichaival, that kind of stuff. And a bunch of power on top. You get a total of 45 power, bringing this up to 75 power at full stacks. So, yeah. It's supposed to be an anti-attack speed item, but I don't even know, but this is like, you can slap this on any hunter as well. Like, you can slap this on a Medusa and have a ton of ability damage, though she may want to have the damage up front and rather have Asi anyways. Or you can, I guess you can build this after Asi. I think there might actually be something like a Transcendence, Asi, Ichaival, Oboe meta. Who knows? You have flat pen, you have power, you have everything, and attack speed, and it's insane. Like, between these two items, without even having done much math, I'm pretty sure they're both going to be used. Ichaival maybe a little bit less because of the price tag, but I think it's still something that might be useful in one way or another on certain guards, and especially Asi. So duo lane is if you can play ADC, just go play ADC. You will have fun. The rest won't, but you will. Aquatic, or guard balance rather. Dragon's Call decreased attack damage per dragon, I guess, from 95 to 90, and that's because this passive was too strong. I think they should have just nerfed the passive. Crazy idea, I know. I think the new passive is interesting. I think it could have just had some nerfs instead of tackling the damage again and nerfing his clear and all that. You know, it just seems like the weird angle, but hey. Bacchus has been super strong. Yup, that's fair enough. We know that. But again, his nerfs are now more targeted towards his kit and not like how he interacts in things, but rather his strength. And I think that's still very good. So Drunkometer decreased damage mitigation from 7% to 5% while tipsy, and from 14% to 10% while smashed. Absolutely fair. He's still a tank. And again, this is something that benefits players outside of Conquest as well, so I think that's very cool. And then we have Belch of the Gods here, decreased base damage from 25 to 85 to 20 to 80. A little bit less early pressure. All completely fair, in my opinion, with how he performed. Bakasura. I don't know what it is with Bakasura, with Hyres and Bakasura. I don't know where he's like overperforming. If there's like some ranked division like in between where it's just completely crazy, or if it's just people still don't know how to play against him, how to build Megadi Mail, I don't know. But he can be difficult to shut down when he gets going. Yeah, that's kind of the point of an AA assassin. That's how they have to work, especially during his regurgitate. Yeah. The duration can chomp through his opponents, as well as the duration of his CC immunity allows him to really pressure opponents with a large window. I mean, yeah, no, it's not like Jormungandr just came out and has like CC immunity for an entire ultimate where he just floats around for hours. No, it's Bakasura's. Bakasura's 1.5 seconds are the big issue, guys. That's the problem. Bakasura has too much CC immunity, the one that always runs out right before something happens. That's too much. Yeah. Description now shows deployable duration. Decreased duration of cone autos from 6 to 5 seconds, I guess. Decreased CC immunity duration from 1.5 seconds to 1 second. So basically, you're CC immune for the animation of spinning the minions out, and then it's over already. I don't get it. The next god is Fenrir. Do you know how long Fenrir is CC immune? Like, I understand the different gods have different kits, but Bakasura did nothing wrong, man. Bakasura did nothing wrong. Fenrir, however, is interesting. Fenrir has always been a strange spot, I agree. As an assassin, his jungle was often on the fringes of being useful, and he instead found himself as an aggressive support. He is seeing a shift today, reducing his early game control and base damage while receiving an increase to his jungle clear and giving him more reasons to build power. Unchained was a high base damage, low cooldown ability that enabled the support Fenrir play. These aspects are both being reduced. On the opposite side, Brutalize will now always cleave, but a slightly reduced strength. And runes will now cause Brutalize to scale more with physical power. Players will now have a more clear use case between empowering Unchained for control and Brutalize for more damage, while having access to reliable and strong jungle clear without needing to use runes. So, Unchained base damage reduced from 95 to 335 to 75 to 315. A heavy hit here, 20 flat off the top. That's a lot for a high aggression leap, early damaging ability, whatever. Decreased amount of cooldown decrease on successful hit from 50% to 30%. Half to 1/3. Half to 1/3. I think halving would be to 1/4, but I'm still down with this. I can understand that this reset was like, especially for newer players, this is like there's such a skill gap with this card that I think is a bit unreasonable. Like you miss it once and then you're basically out, and you hit it once and you have won a fight. So I can see why this was done, because you still have the stun on it. And then Brutalize, its ability now always cleaves, but reduce the cleave damage from 75 to 50% of total. That is fair. I think that's completely fine. That will really help his jungle clear. I think he will have some super fast jungle clear now, because now you can max Brutalize in the jungle and you will chew through the camps at an insane rate all the time without having your runes up. So that's pretty cool. And also at max runes, this ability will deal an additional 15% off your physical power per hit. So I like this. I like where Fenrir is going. The problem is that a lot of this damage is now centered around Brutalize. 15% of your physical power. I think they could have actually done just 15% extra damage. But hey, if you rush high power on Fenrir now, this might be interesting. Asi Fenrir. Pretend is Asi Fenrir, I'm saying it. Super lifesteal, super power. And also, I think this means that if you use your 2 beforehand, it should do a lot more damage with the Brutalize as well, because that increases your power. So interesting change, absolutely. Unfortunate in situations where his Brutalize can be interrupted, which are many. I mean, often Brutalize is not even used on Fenrir, it's not even leveled because it's just too easy to interrupt. So Fenrir becomes a very specific counter pick now in specific matchups where his Brutalize will not be interrupted. Freya, a disaster queen. Yeah, she's been too strong and too weird and too everything, and now her damage is too high. What a shocker, and her slow was too good, so everything's getting nerfs. Northern Lights decreased base damage from 11 to 75 to 10 to 60. Good. Decreased slow from 25% to 15%. Very good. It was ridiculous that she had so much free slow. Decreased minion explosion damage from 50% to 25%. Also very good. Aurora Blade decreased range damage magical power scaling from 15% to 10% per hit. Also very good. Freya nerfs across the board. She might get more. We'll see. She was not in a good spot, so yes. Hunbats. Hunbats occasionally cycles in and out of the meta, but from late season 5 to now, he has been more out than in, which is interesting. He's actually been played in pro games and stuff. But hey, while his mid to late game can be powerful, due to his ultimate, he falls behind on clear speed and camp control. Correct. We are allowing Sacred Monkey to rebounce to minions or jungle monsters when it can no longer find a new target within range. This bonus damage on each camp will add up and bridge the gap between Hunbat's early clear and other competitive junglers. So this ability can now re-hit minions but only hit guards once. Very interesting. Sacred Monkey is technically a little bit more damage than the 2. Cooldown is, I think, higher on rank 1. I think it was lower or something. It's definitely worth leveling technically, but practically you level the 2 as a jungler for more reliable quick clear. With the Sacred Monkey change, that might change, because now you can hit your primary target multiple times, which is important on big jungle camps. You hit the smallest one, you hit the big one twice. And I think that's a very cool change, but it also comes with a downside, because if you throw the monkey through minions to hit a guard with it, and you want to jump to the guard, then you now have to time it very, very well. And you have to be very sure that it hits the guard and doesn't bounce on. You can use the ability again to teleport, and if your ping is good enough, then you actually end at the right target, which doesn't always happen, unfortunately. But you have to really time it well. You have to, the moment the monkey jumps from the last minion to the guard, you have to hit that teleport. And if you don't, then the monkey will probably jump back to a minion and you will lose the positioning advantage that you would have gotten. Interesting change. I like it. Adds a bit more skill cap to Hunbats, who's a relatively simple guard kit-wise, so I think it's cool. Jormungandr, the world champion, has arrived with players only have been trying him in multiple roles, and in each he has struggled to really make his mark. We want to bring up his overall strength and give his ultimate more opportunities to shine. We are increasing his base physical protection, giving him more opportunity to box in the early game, and we are making his ultimate a flat 100 seconds at all ranks. The lowered cooldown will help Jormungandr engage and rotate much more effectively. This is not a good idea. I know what I said about Jormungandr, And I know that stat-wise he's probably not doing too hot just yet, but there is something about Jormungandr that's becoming an issue and will be more of an issue, and that's the ultimate overall. Like I said, I don't think he's too weak or too strong right now, but these changes may shift him in the wrong direction. His base critical attack is increased from 18 to 21, giving him a bit more of his solo and duo presence. But also, the World Serpent's ultimate cooldown is decreased from 120 to 100 at all ranks. That is rough. I think that the ultimate still most definitely needs an overhaul in the speed, in how quickly it bounces from A to B to C, and in how long you can stay in the ground in between and everything. I think that has to be sped up so that Jormungandr can't spend half a team fight disrupting an enemy and not really doing much else, but just jumping on the same target over and over, like on the ADC, which I have experienced, which is kind of frustrating to deal with. And decreasing the cooldown alone does not make that better. It makes that worse because now he can spam it even more. So every team fight, you'll see this ultimate now, even in earlier stages, all the time. He's just gonna pick out a target that he nukes. And I am not a fan. No, I am not a fan. So I think this needs to be thought through, and Jormungandr as a whole needs to be tackled, or specifically his ultimate needs to be tackled, and the rest needs to be less of a one-trick pony style. Yeah. King Arthur gets a long story here. His win rate is super low. He's the lowest in the game. He got buffed and he may become a little bit too potent. He gets ultimate more quickly and players are getting better at him. No surprise. People are learning to actually play Arthur. Watch the guide, good guys. Just kidding. In this patch, we're looking to add some targeted adjustments that are exploited at the top end while ensuring that players still learning Arthur will have an enjoyable experience. Overhead Slice allows for Arthur to bully opponents in lane and contributes to his already high clear speed. Yeah, very true. While late game, this feels appropriate, the early game damage, especially in melee range, was too high. Additionally, Twin Cleave and Blade Summer seeing partial revert of their energy gain. We still worry that King Arthur will lose a lot of his core feel if energy takes too long to build, but going from 1 to 2 energy provided him too much. And that is because of the ult spam. Finally, Sundering Strike and Excalibur's Fury will now cost mana. Not only does this address some of his spam a lot playstyle early, players are accustomed to recognizing when a player is out of mana and using that as a cue to engage. Having a small mana cost keeps that feeling consistent across the game with King Arthur. And I think that's very fair. All of these changes are absolutely fair. And I say this as someone who enjoys King Arthur a lot. Overhead Slash decreased melee bonus damage from 50% to 30 up to 50%. If you're not maxing Overhead Slash first, no matter where you're playing, what are you doing? Why? Like, it's such a great ability, so you get your rewards a few levels in. Cool. The first levels are not the most important one for King Arthur jungle, at least anyway, so nice. Twin Cleave and Blade Storm decreased energy gain from 2 to 1.5 per hit. Middle ground, okay. Sundering Strike, Excalibur's Fury, both abilities now cost 40 mana. Also, a good middle ground here. Low mana cost for both of them, but you can't just spam them all the time. I think they could have a bit more of an internal cooldown as well, but that might just be fixed through the less, well, like lower energy gain anyway, so shouldn't be a problem. Next one is a problem. Merlin. I need to drink something. My voice is dying from this. This is like it's like its own season patch almost. Merlin was not to be outdone by King Arthur. Players have a large amount of success with Merlin, utilizing his stance switching capabilities to cycle between poking out opponents or burning them down. We are making some targeted adjustments to some of its abilities, lowering damage or interactions that boosted damage above expectation. Additionally, Flicker is seeing an overall nerf, giving players more opportunity to punish an out-of-position Merlin. Now, the interesting thing is that originally they said that Merlin was actually not performing very well. And I said, at least in Arena he should be, and in other modes that are not Conquest he should be. I'm not quite sure. I guess he's now picking up in Conquest as well. It was only a matter of time, I guess. So, yeah. I think Wolfie said that Arthur's better than Merlin at some point. Wolfie. This one's where we see the opposite. Unless Merlin said, unless Wolfie said it the other way around. I'm not sure. I forgot. But yeah. Eclipse, reduced initial hit scaling from 70% to 60%. Cool. More about the tick now, which is annoying enough, especially because it can hit you in air, as we learned. Frostbolt. Gem of Isolation, a slow applies after Frostbolt does damage and does not get the bonus damage unless the target is slow previously. Aha! All the guys have to change. Because that was a super easy trick. You build a Gem of Isolation and Frostbound, and Frostbolt does more damage automatically. Now you actually have to slow them beforehand, which changes its entire combo, and which his entire burst potential in the Frost stance, and that is a heavy hitter. Ladies and gentlemen, Merlin has to readjust in terms of playstyle. Reduced bonus damage from 20% to 15%, another hitter. Blizzard fixed several issues that were causing this ability to do much more damage than intended. Interesting. For example, when it got stuck on you, I guess, but I'm not sure. Flicker increased cooldown from 22 to 18 to 24 to 20 seconds. Not as much blinking around anymore. Cool. We'll see how Merlin is after this. He was very oppressive for a while. I'm interested in potential future changes to the fire stance as well. We'll see about that. But overall, a good path here. So yeah, that's Merlin. Naja, very interesting. Similar to Naja, to Fenrir, Naja's support has been a potent threat and a staple in the duo lane. While we like guards flexing into different roles, Naja's success has pushed others out of the role, restricting how many guards can be played as a support. Ringtoss Protection Shred combined with Windfire Wheel's high base damage enabled this playstyle more than any part of the kit. So we're toning down both of these aspects to make him more manageable to fight. We will be keeping a close eye on Naja as an assassin going forward, but when built offensive, his scaling is high enough that we feel he will still be a strong pick after these adjustments. Windfire Wheels added note that enemies caught in this effect do not count as being in CC. Decreased base damage from per hit from 40 to 120 to 30 to 110. Decreased initial landing damage from 80 to 280 to 50 to 270. Quite a lot of damage that's chunked off various parts here in terms of base damage. Makes you more reliant on building damaging items, I suppose, but there's also no like return in terms of scaling or something. Universe Ring Toss decreased protection debuff from 15 to 10 up to 14. I mean, you're leveling this first to get it relatively quickly most of the time, but still, I see the idea of the Naja support being a bit oppressive, but I'm surprised there's no compensation here for jungle Naja. And I don't know if that's still coming, or if maybe the theme is just destroy junglers. You know, Ao Kuang, Bakasura, Naja, buff duo lane. Jungles. Rather jungles anyways. Pili has been too strong still. Blah, blah. Don't even need to say much about that. So what's going to be nerfed is her Eruption. Decreased inner damage from 80 to 260 to 50 to 70 to 250. So 10 damage flat. Yeah, that's fair enough. It's just the inner damage anyways. Often you will hit targets with the outer ring if they move away somehow. So I don't see much of an issue with that overall. Volcanic Lightning decreased initial damage from 200 to 520 to 180 to 520. That's actually okay. You know, it's just the initial damage, and she still does a lot with that ability anyway. So, well, that's cool. And Raw. Base stats increase physical power per level, physical protection per level from 2.5 to 3, because you know he's a bit of a squish with no mobility, low mobility. Yep, fair enough. Ram. Pick Me Up. A decreased mana cost from 80 to 100 to 60 to 80. Completely fair. I think they could even lower that more, because I don't see why that ability is more towards the medium mana spectrum when King Arthur's ult is 40 mana. I think this could be lowered more. Just saying. I don't think anyone would be complaining about that, and I'm not happy with the state that hunters are going into right now, but I really wouldn't be complaining if that was lowered. And then Vamana has been running over his opponents and utilizing the added survivability while inside his ultimate. With this patch, we want to look at his core strength and make targeted adjustments to ensure he's fair to fight while keeping his ultimate feeling strong. We're lowering his movement speed, burst potential, and utility, but only in small amounts. These should give players more opportunity to outmaneuver, survive, and potentially escape, especially when played well. Nice changes here, actually. Even as somebody who loves playing Vamana, I think these changes are absolutely fine. Decreased base movement speed from 380 to 375. Of course, as a jungler, I'm not going to like that really, but I can understand why it's done. At least he has to invest a little bit more into movement speed now to chase you down. Armored Umbrella decreased base damage from 85 to 305 to 85 to 285. So quite a lot off the top here, 20 damage, but nothing at the bottom, so it's clear, and the start remains the same. Okay, a little bit less for ability Vamana, a little bit more focus on the ultimate. That's how you do your damage. And Umbrella rank decreased attack speed and movement speed slow from 30% to 25%. I think they could have kept the attack speed slow the same here. I think the movement speed alone would have been enough. But again, also, I think this is fine. As someone who really, really loves Vamana, I think all of these changes are fine. I don't think he is as overwhelming as some people who don't build anti-heal make him out to be after his buffs. But I do think that in some regards, he needed tweaks to kind of offset the buffs that he got. And this is a good compensation here. So that's it for this patch. And again, I think it has some very good sides and it has some sides that make me personally very unhappy. But overall, I would still say, in conclusion, I like most of it. To stop nerfing jungle, please. And with that, I have a bit of an announcement. I am going to be moving out soon, as some of you may already know. And I will be very busy because of that. I am already very busy. I have been busy for the last days, weeks, really. I had some time in between to make my videos when I was in Croatia. But now we're at the point where that's not the case anymore. And I think until next week, roughly, I will not be able to make at least regular videos, if any at all. I will not have my entire PC, so I will be working on the laptop. And if I can fit something in, if I can find the time, then you will see me making 1 or 2 videos on topics that I already planned out. But I just don't want to make any promises here when at the end of the day, I don't know yet. I don't know when and how I can squeeze stuff in. So please understand, I think most of you will. I will be back as soon as I can. And then I will have, after a short time, I will have a lot of time to focus on a lot of content. A lot more than it's been the past month, really, since realistically my thesis started, since December. Or whatever, like... I've been super busy. Even the month before that, I've been super busy. And after that, I will not be super busy anymore. So I'm really looking forward to that. And you guys can look forward to that, at least as long as you people enjoy my content, which I'm assuming you are if you watch this video to the end. And with that, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope this was interesting and insightful and fun to watch. If you're new to the channel, I would much appreciate it if you click the subscribe button and maybe the bell. It really helps me out. And if you enjoyed this and you are already subscribed, you can also click the like button. Other than that, see you for the next one as soon as I can. I'm thinking around like 29th, no, maybe 30th, 30, yeah, this is month of a 31st. Yeah, 31st, 1st of April, April Fools. We'll see when exactly that is. But until then, DukeSloth, out.